coming up, sex toys. No, it's yes. When was the last time we talked about sex toys, Josh? Never.
Oh,
Well,
the
we
other
will be.
day, I'm sure you mentioned them.
Did I? Oh, that was whiteware abuse, Josh. That was the no. That was whiteware abuse. That was something completely
Oh no,
different.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I remember a show where you mentioned sex toys the other day. But
Did
anyway,
I? I don't recall that, Josh. I listen. I might be getting old in advance, but I don't think I've ever used a sex toy, Josh, in my life. Just quietly. I don't know much about them, Josh. You seem peculiarly well informed, can I say?
well, I'm not that well informed. I do remember
Ah,
some conversation was had, but there's.
no, well, that's it. Oh, there you go. Listen, the combination of AI and the latest latex, Josh, and no, sure she's lovely, that girlfriend you've got. Listen, anyhow, girls get off. Oh, I know what we were talking about, Josh. Sorry, I've misappropriated that conversation. Now it's just come back from a deep, dark recess of my brain. That was to do with New Zealand women being the largest consumers of vibrators in the world. Is that the one? Yeah? Yeah, I think that is. Um, that's all right. No, go for your life. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that, Josh. Sorry, you could take that completely differently. No, it's all right, Josh. No, no, he's not. It's all right. He's answering a phone call. Just by the way, it's not go for your life in a an appropriate way. Yes. This is to do with girls get off. For some strange reason, and I've never quite worked it out, just can I say, New Zealand women are insanely proud about being the most profligate users of vibrators in the world. I've never quite worked that out, but they are. Um, it's sort of there were, there used to be Tupperware parties, Josh. My mother used to go to them, and
Yeah, I remember Tupperware parties. Yeah.
she'd come home with Tupperware, Josh. I actually quite liked Tupperware. I thought they were bloody good, things. And it was always a shame you couldn't buy them, of course. Then that man ended up doing the sort of the click clacks and what is it, the Systema, the chap who is obviously, but it was essentially just Tupperware, isn't it? From the
Yeah, does it?
1960s.
The Systema stuff's really good, actually.
Yeah, that is very good.
Not
But
quite as
having
good as
said that,
Tupperware used
so
to be,
was
but
Tupperware.
oh,
I mean,
Tupperware was
1960s.
outstanding.
Yeah, and people would go to parties for Tupperware. And then women, New Zealand women, tended to move on. They went to, God, I remember they went to lingerie parties where, there'd be a woman there selling lingerie. And I remember a girlfriend going off and coming back and saying, look at this, what do you think of this? And I was going, oh, God, you're in trouble now, Michael. Then there were book clubs. Women started to go to book clubs, almost entirely women. And now I understand there are erotic book clubs. Oh, dear Lord. But the latest version seems to be sex toy parties, I've discovered, which have been going now for quite some time. And again, men don't bother going. It sounds exciting. It's a bit like going to a swingers club. It sounds exciting until you actually go to one. You go, oh God, no. As a consequence of that, but nonetheless, a group of women, or a couple of women in particular, including our next guest, Jo Cummins and Viv Conway, put together probably a very, very successful company, which I think, again, just like most companies, was built in the garage, which is the wrong place to build it, but it doesn't matter. And they started making vibrators. They called their company Girls Get Off. And believe it or not, it got a great deal of media attention. And listen, kid you not, New Zealand women seem to have embraced the concept, the idea. And I don't know if it's a commentary on New Zealand men or not. I'll ask that question very soon. But they've had enormous problems despite success and apparently a great deal of cult following. Even trying to open a bank account with the Bank of New Zealand, for example. Bank of New Zealand started to be quite obstructive. Insurance companies refused to work with them, so they couldn't insure themselves because, well, they're selling sex legally, I have to say. It's not like they're prostitutes or anything like that. And now the latest is, well, they decided to offer a discount. Now, as a gold card member myself, can I tell you that before the superannuation arrives, the gold card does. It's quite a thrill, actually. Unfortunately, there's bugger all I can use it for in Cromwell. Oh, there's one thing in particular. I'll talk about that later. But my Super Gold card turned up, and so the girls get off. Said to Super Gold, listen, we'd like to offer a discount for our perfectly legal and apparently booming vibrator business. But they were declined by the Ministry of Social Development, presumably because, well, it's an unmentionable or, immoral product. Who knows why? Joining us to talk about that, one of the co-founders and I assume co-chief executives of Girls Get Off is Viv Conway, and she joins us now. Viv, welcome to the show. Lovely to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me on today. How are things?
Not a problem. Listen, I said in my introductory remarks, you probably heard, that New Zealand women have a reputation, and I don't know if it's been backed up by a few surveys, I guess, that the greatest use of vibrators in the Western world. Is that correct?
Oh, I'm actually not aware of those stats, but I wouldn't be surprised. We've got a pretty good attitude towards them here in NZ.
Why is that? Is that men in this country are uniformly useless?
I wouldn't go that far. I like to think of, sex is ice cream, these are sprinkles. It's just a different flavour. We're not here to replace anyone at all. I think that maybe they just know what fun is.
Ah, so it's the old story of I can have too much hokey pokey, but sometimes I'd like boysenberry.
Yeah, exactly.
Ah, okay. All right. So you've started up a legitimate project. I understand you export now, and you say in actual fact that women and men in their 60s, 70s and 80s, their libido is still healthy and active. God, you obviously haven't checked mine. But these then said that you're trying to offer a discount to people of my age, over the age of 65, and the Ministry of Social Development has said thanks, but no thanks. Did they give you a reason why?
Yeah, look, I guess what happened was we tried to get on the Super Gold Card platform to offer a discount to the over-65s. We know that from, other times we appear in the media, if we can get in front of that audience at different shows or expos, that, everyone's libidos are different, but we do get a lot of interest from that age demographic. And when we put our application through, it was actually originally accepted, which they've come back and said was since a clerical error. And when we went to change some details on our profile, we were then sort of rejected. So they'd come back to us and said that it was because they want to meet the sensitivities and they feel that that age group might be quite uncomfortable with the topic. But I think from the conversations I've had with different people in that age demographic, I beg to differ. And look, we even tried to say, we've got a waterproof blanket product that can be really useful for things outside of the bedroom, whether it's pets, kids, or even things like incontinence or if you're a little bit sick. But they weren't very keen. So this leads us to now.
Can I ask how old you are, Viv? I'll explain why in a second, but roughly what decade are you?
I'm 30.
Oh, okay. Can I just say, my generation invented sex. And seriously. So the 60s and the 70s were the time of sexual liberation. The pill set it all off. Racy films, all that sort of stuff. Very few clothes. Multiple partners. Started, on a reasonable basis. So I think you're probably right. I think your baby boomers would be pretty good clientele, wouldn't they?
Oh, yeah, well, I remember when we started the business, it must have been maybe 8 months in, and Women's Weekly did a story on us. And for the 3 weeks after that magazine feature, the 65 plus age demographic outdid any other demographic on our website for 3 weeks. So I would say that there's some interest, yes.
No, seriously, we did. And really interesting, can I just say, we were the people that invented STDs. Or we were certainly great proliferators of. It's really interesting that your generation, and I'm reading this as a phenomenon, not just in New Zealand, but throughout the Western world, are having less sex than their parents and grandparents. Have you come across that?
I have heard of that. Look, I haven't looked too deeply into it, but I also know that for Gen Z, the rates of drinking alcohol have also sort of
Yes,
decreased.
that's true
so maybe
there might be a
people
correlation.
aren't. Maybe, whether it's causation or correlation, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's quite whether it's. It could be anything. I think there are probably more conversations now around good sexual wellbeing and stuff, and something that we're working on. But maybe the connection piece is something that's missing, that's being reflected in those stats at the moment.
Okay. Now, when you started up your organisation, or sorry, your company, and you moved into this area. Why, with all due respect, did you move into vibrators? Why wasn't it, well, I don't know, Tupperware or children's playground equipment or something like that? Why vibrators?
Well, when we had the idea for the business probably 5 years ago now, it just occurred to us that, of all the other products that we're marketed to as women, why is sex toys the only thing that doesn't have nice packaging? It doesn't have a nice customer experience. I mean, it does now because that's something we work really hard on. But at the time, you had to go into the shop down the road. You weren't
Yeah,
sure
that's
who
right.
was
The
going to be
CD
in
shop.
there.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly. Was it
Yeah.
going to be an awkward experience? Or if you
Yeah.
went online, some of the bigger retailers, you just were overwhelmed with choice. So, I think we set out to make sure that it was a fun, simple, positive buying experience for our customers. And it felt like an act of self-care rather than something that was supposed to make you feel uncomfortable or a little bit unsure of if it was okay.
Listen, I know more about this topic than I should just quietly, but my understanding is that it's a bit like getting a tattoo, getting a vibrator. You don't stop at one. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, people are collecting Labubus at the moment, aren't they? But I think for a lot of our audience, they're definitely collecting toys. It's like choosing different movies, or different flavors of chocolate. Like they all do such different things. So I think once you get started, you get more curious about what's out there.
Yeah. No. It's just that I'm curious as to the idea that the Ministry of Social Development would essentially suggest that, well, my age group in particular might be offended. Was this a suggestion that if you're under the age of 65, you wouldn't be offended by your product?
Yeah, I mean, I guess from their point of view, maybe they're just sort of putting it in the too hard basket. But I think when when they reject it, the idea completely, they're actually just avoiding like a conversation that nothing bad actually comes from talking about pleasure, about having really good, healthy self-exploration and sex. So I think by if they freak out and go too hard basket, it might make some people feel uncomfortable. It also means a lot of people miss out on potentially some really good, healthy pleasure.
Yeah. So what was the discount you're offering? 10% or something, were you?
I think we were going to go in with 20% for
Oh, okay.
our 65 pluses, which is exciting. But look, I mean, if anyone wants a discount, they can just message us on Facebook or something. I'll sort something out for them. But in the meantime, maybe making all this noise will mean that they give us the green tick. I'm not sure.
All right. Now, how long have your business been going? It's got to a year old yet?
We are just over 4 years old now.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're obviously making money. Are you exporting, or is New Zealand your primary destination?